So now we are going to make this tank move left and right. So basically just go to your tank and click player controller. This is basically what we did a while ago. So what we are going to do is public float, and we're going to name our variable turn speed, and you'll maybe turn that to 0. Add F. Oh, don't forget to add F. And we're going to use transform that translate vector 3. Now this time, since we want to move left and right, we will use right because it's the name of the function or method. Then we're going to multiply it as well to delta time times speed, but in this case we're going to use our turn speed. Then we are going to use a semicolon to end it. Now we hit save and go back to our Unity window, wait for it to finish loading, and click on our tank. And as you can see, there is a turn speed here, so we click play and adjust the turn speed. It will manually move left and right. Nice. What we want to do is control it ourselves using A and D or left and right arrow keys. So we're gonna go and do that. So now we are going to make our tank move left and right by using A and D or left arrow or right arrow key. So you can find input manager in edit, project settings, input manager, axis, and horizontal. You can see that the Unity already has a built-in input manager for left and right for the horizontal movement of a player. So we are going to take advantage of it in our code. So you go to our player controller, you create a public float so we can see it as well on the outside. We call it horizontal input. You can name it any type you want, any name you want. I name it horizontal input, and make sure it's float so that it's gradually moving left and right and not going at full speed immediately. So we are going to instantiate horizontal input here. Well, input is equal to use the input manager, input dot get axis, and you enclose it inside the parenthesis and double quotation mark, and we are going to get the horizontal axis here. The name is horizontal, so we're going to get horizontal, then end it with a semicolon, then multiply it on our vector here on right to horizontal input. And that's basically it. Let's hit save and try it. Let's wait for it to load. Let's exit it. Look at tank. You can see on the player script it has horizontal input. Let's click play. Yeah, you can see the value of the horizontal input changing to -1 and 1 gradually instead of just 0 then automatically 1. I mean immediately 1. But it's not moving. So what's the problem? The problem is our turn speed is set to 0. So if we set this to 10 and click play, we'll now start moving left and right. See? So that's basically how you do it. Make sure to take note of all the variables and methods we used. So now that we're finished setting up the character to move it from left and right by using A and D or left and right click keys, we are now going to control how to move it forward and backward. So basically it's the same thing in our project settings, input manager. There is something here called vertical, and down and up is for the buttons for moving backward and forward, and the name of this is vertical. So what we will do is we are going to go to our player controller. So basically the same thing as we did with the horizontal input. We're going to make a public float forward input, then instantiate the variable here is equal to input dot get axis, and now we're going to call it vertical because the name in our project settings is vertical. Now we are going to multiply our forward line here called forward input. Yep. So to avoid confusion, we add comments here, and this move the player sideways and hit save. So make sure that it's saved here. Check on the inspector window, it's saved. Let's close the project settings window and let's hit play. So as you can see, the tank is not moving because I'm not pressing any keys. So if I press W, the tank will slowly move. If I press S, it will slowly move backwards. And there we have it. So if you want to see the script in action, you can see it here. So if I press W, forward input becomes 1, but gradually. If I press S, it becomes -1, and gradually as well. Horizontal input, left and right, -1 and 1. Nice. So we've made a character move now using our WASD keys or arrow keys. So if you notice, if we are going to move our tank left and right, the tank itself doesn't rotate and it looks like it's very awkward to move it to the left and right. So now we are going to fix that. In order to fix that, we are going to go to our player controller and we are going to use a new transform called rotate. So what rotate does is it gets the vector on where we are going to rotate, and it also gets the angle on how much we are going to rotate it. So in order to find the vector that you're going to use, you go to your tank and click on rotate tool. So you can see if I move it left and right, the rotation changes on the y-axis. So the y-axis is on the Unity vector documentation. You can see that up and down is changing y-axis. Remember that in vector 3, this is x, this is y, and this is z. So we either use up and down, but for conventional purposes, we're going to use up because it's on the positive value. So go to your player controller, you go to vector 3 dot up, and basically we are going to calculate the angle, but you already have the angle calculated here. It's this line right here. So we are going to copy it and put it here and remove this line here. Make sure there is a semicolon at the end of it and hit save. Now let's test it out on Unity. Hit play and look at our tank slowly turns. It's slowly turning, but it's definitely turning. Now let's adjust the turn speed of our tank. Maybe set it to 30 and hit play. Now when we hit play, now the tank feels like it's moving properly now, avoiding the obstacles, and we fall down. Yeah, let's stop playing and let's move on to the next topic. Now that we are done with our truck simulator, we're going to publish this into a Webgl game. So how to do it is go to your Windows, go to your package manager, and go to Unity registry and search for Webgl. So you have here a Webgl publisher. To install it, wait for it to finish importing. You can see that there is now a publish Webgl project here. Just click Webgl project and get started. Build and publish your game. Switch over to Webgl, switch platform. Alright, wait for it to import, and there we go, it's already finished. Now we're going to get started again. Build and publish, build, and let's make a new folder named driving simulator, and click that folder and wait for it to build. Alright, so we're done building our Webgl game. So now it's uploading. Wait for it to upload. It's processing. Alright, and it's going to redirect us to the link of our game. It's play.unity/ playunity.com/p driving simulator /3. And yeah, we have our game now into Unity, and you guys can play it if you want.